Hi, I'm Graham.
And I'm Tracy.
And
together, we're the Flying Finnies. We are a 50-something couple on a quest to get to 60 countries by the time we turn 60. This video is all about country number 18, Slovenia, and what a surprising place that was for us.
We weren't sure what we were going to experience when we packed up our bags, jumped on the bus and headed north into Slovenia, but all I can say is that we love Slovenia.
It was really great country. We had only 10 days there, but it's a small enough country to see a lot in that space of time. We rented a car so that we could get around really easily and saw beautiful lakes, beautiful cities, lovely castles. And the seaside, we had a really nice stay by the sea as well.
Now, for those of you who follow our channel, you would be aware that we are budget travellers, and we found that Slovenia was actually pretty good value.
We call ourselves budget travellers still. We try to be budget travellers. We haven't been super successful while in Europe at sticking to our budget, but we're having a good time.
Why don't you stick around to the end and we'll give you our thoughts on how you can try to minimise the cost of your travel when you're in Slovenia. We have recently been spending a bit of time in and around Croatia. To get to Ljubljana, we took an overnight bus from Dubrovnik. It was a long trip on the bus, but the scenery along the way was amazing.
We managed to get a little bit of sleep and we woke up in the gorgeous city of Ljubljana. Now, we were really surprised by this city. It is lovely. It is, and it's the capital city, so it's a big city, but it's not too big. It's a really manageable size to get a really good feel for it and see everything there is to see in just a few days.
We stayed just outside the main part of the city centre, which gave us the opportunity to take a little bit of a walk in and out of the city every time we wanted to get in there. We got our steps up.
More than a little bit of a walk. I think it was about 5Ks into the city, so it was in and out and in and out.
The thing that is striking about the city as you walk in is the castle that sits on the hill overlooking the city and the river.
There's a multitude of ways that you can get up to the castle. You can walk. It's a really lovely path up the hill. It's not too long and not too steep, so that's what we chose to do. Or you can take the funicular. So there's a funicular that goes from the main street in town up to the castle. There's a reasonable cost for that, which is why we avoided it. But it looked like fun. And then the third way, of course, is by taxi. There is a road that gets you to the front of the castle as well.
There is an entrance fee if you want to go inside the walls of the castle and to have a look at some of the exhibits. We chose just to wander around the grounds of the castle, which was free and offered a really, really good view of the castle and also the city below.
One of the things we did spend money on though at the castle was some lovely drinks and a light dinner. So when we were visiting during the day, we found a really lovely restaurant that sits just on the outside of the walls but overlooks the city. So we decided that we would come back for dinner and afternoon drinks and to watch the sunset, and that was a fabulous decision because we had some great Aperol spritzers and a really nice dumpling dinner, wasn't it? Oh, I'm just remembering about that. That was really delicious.
Summer in Ljubljana almost has a bit of a festival feel for it. There are quite a few people in town, but walking down along the river amongst all of the restaurants and bars, you can't help but just enjoy the environment.
There's beautiful bridges to pass, there's piazzas to walk through, and it just felt really good. Lots of tourists, but not overcrowded. Really, really fantastic city.
They had a whole range of markets there, including a night market which just had food, wines, locally made produce. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we got really good food there, didn't we? There was all different kinds, so it wasn't just Slovenian food or even European food. There were really good American ribs, there was good Asian food. We had a great night there.
But one of the favourite things I think Tracy did was taking a boat trip down on the river itself.
Yeah, there's boat trips that you can do along the river. You didn't need to book them in advance. We just walked up, paid our money on the spot, didn't we? It was really lovely. They take about an hour And we met some really nice Australians on that boat too, actually, which was really fun.
And, of course, you can have a beer or two whilst you're enjoying the river cruise.
Yeah, I forgot that.
One of the things that we really enjoyed was watching water volleyball. It was set up on the river itself, and at night it just provided a wonderful, lit, colourful spectacle.
Yeah, we were really lucky that that was on while we were there. I think it only happens 1 or 2 weekends over the summer. One of the things I did not expect to see in Ljubljana was a pet ostrich. We were just walking along to another market actually to have a look, and there was this man walking his pet ostrich, which was quite a scene, wasn't it? Causing quite a scene in town.
I'd say he was most probably the most popular attraction in town. We were keen to see a little bit more of Slovenia, so we hired a car and did a loop around the northwest of the country. The first key area that we went to was Lake Bled.
If you ever Google Slovenia, you will see pictures of Lake Bled. It is kind of iconic for that country. It's this gorgeous lake. In the middle of the lake, there's a little island with a church. People row out to the church. It's really iconically Slovenian. One of the things I would caution you against, though, is the parking. So it is almost impossible to park in and around Lake Bled during the day. And if you do manage to score a park, it's very expensive to do that. We were staying a little out of town just because we booked late, as we do, and there wasn't a lot available in town. So we had no choice but to drive into town. It was too far to walk. And that caused us some logistical issues, I would say. Didn't ruin our time there, but it's just something to be aware of.
Now, you can't swim in Lake Bled other than in some very designated areas a little bit further out of town.
So instead of spending our days around Lake Bled, we actually did some day trips for there, and that worked out really well for us. So we went out to Mount Vogel. We went up the cable car and had a really lovely afternoon up there looking around. We saw cows and snakes and all sorts of things. That was really nice. And we also visited Lake Bohinj. Now this is a lake that you can swim in, and it was really beautiful. We apologise, we don't have much footage from there because we were literally lying in the sun, sleeping and swimming all afternoon. We had a really delightful day there.
Now, the cable car to go to Mount Vogel is expensive.
Oh, it's really expensive, but it's worth it. We thought seriously about not doing it because of the cost, but we were glad we did it at the end of the day.
The views at the top are amazing, and you get a perspective of the entire valley. And if you want to, you're able to go a little bit further up the mountain, as some of the cable cars are also still open.
I felt like we were in Switzerland there. You're on top of these incredible mountains. There were cows with bells like in Switzerland around their neck. Really, really great afternoon.
The other attraction around Lake Bohinj is the Savica Waterfall.
That was also stunning. It was another fee to get in. You had to pay an entrance fee to get in there. And it's a bit of a hike to get in, but it was a nice walk. But beautiful, high, pounding waterfall that we were able to enjoy.
It is one of the key attractions for Slovenia, and you can understand why. The walk into the area was amazing, and then just standing there watching all of these hundreds, thousands of litres of water just crashing over the rocks was unbelievable.
So we'd seen the city, we'd seen the lakes, we'd seen the mountains. It was now time to head to the coast. We were taking a long day drive to Piran.
There were a couple of things that we wanted to do on the way to Piran, and one of them was to go and visit Mount Triglav. This is the highest mountain in Slovenia, and the drive to get through the national park to a point where we could kind of see the mountain was really great.
It was a little bit covered in cloud cover, but it was still a really lovely drive. Quite a long drive to get out there, but really nice to see.
You can understand why outdoor activities in Slovenia are really highly regarded, and I suspect for those who enjoy climbing mountains, that's not us,
Not
by
me.
the way. It would be a great place to go and visit.
Another must-see for us on the way to Piran was Tolmin Gorge. Now, it was a little bit out of the way, but it was well worth the diversion. This was an absolute highlight of our visit to Slovenia.
There is, of course, the obligatory parking fees and entry into the gorge, but it was well worthwhile. We spent around about an hour and a half walking around the gorge itself, and the blue cascading waters coming through the gorge were amazing.
Yeah, the colour of the water there was like Tiffany blue. It was absolutely stunning.
Now, after quite an eventful day of driving, we ended up in Piran, and this area is gorgeous. Now, you have to park outside of the city of Piran. Our accommodation was inside the old town, and it was really worthwhile spending a night there. For those who are a little bit more budget conscious, they could, of course, go to Portoroz, which is just a short drive away, and potentially make your way into Piran on a day trip. But we loved staying inside Piran and taking a walk around the water's edge, particularly at sunset, which was absolutely gorgeous.
Piran Old Town is a beautiful, colourful place, isn't it? Lots of piazzas, colourful buildings, and really easy to just get lost wandering through the maze of those old streets.
To complete our motoring loop of Slovenia, we drove from Piran back to Ljubljana, but there were another couple of highlights along the way.
We stopped off at a place called Postojna Caves and Predjama Castle, and apologies for my pronunciation. These are things that you can do as a day trip from Ljubljana, and most people do that, but because we knew we were taking this loop, we did it on the way back. It's just a must do. It's a really big tourist place, but don't let that put you off. It was an absolutely fantastic day. The caves are extensive. You have to take a train actually into the caves. The train goes for a couple of kilometres in, then you walk for a couple of kilometres on a bit of a loop, and you come back out via train as well. We had a great few hours there.
It was most probably the most expensive experience that we had while we were in Slovenia.
Oh, was it?
Absolutely.
Oh, I must have forgot that part.
So the costs were a little bit eye-watering, I will say. However, they did cover both the costs of entering the cave and the castle and transportation between the two. So it would be fair to say that we were super surprised and super impressed by Slovenia.
It wasn't a country that was on our list, but it just seemed the logical next place to go. And I'm really glad we made that decision. It is really beautiful. It's compact, relatively inexpensive. And I would actually suggest that it's a good alternative to Switzerland and Austria. You get similar scenery and a similar experience, but in a much more cost-effective way.
The only disappointment for me is that we didn't have enough time there. In hindsight, I would have loved to have headed off into the eastern regions of Slovenia, to the wineries, to maybe have a little bit more of a feel of what I would call normal Slovenia, rather than necessarily these jaw-dropping, absolutely amazing scenes.
Well, maybe we go back for Christmas one year, because I think it'd be a really beautiful place. Apparently it has lovely Christmas markets and things down by that river, and you can go to the eastern part of the country then as well.
So Slovenia, absolutely worth visiting. We loved it.
That's it for Slovenia. We hope you loved the video. Leave us a comment, hit the like button, do us a favour and subscribe to our channel. There's 42 more countries to go, so stick around, there's lots more content. It is now time to fly.